My next guest is going to be back in action, taking on Jose Hernandez, FAC 26, October 12th. It is Stephen Graham joining me here on the program. Stephen, how you doing?
I am great, man. Good to see you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for taking time. Obviously, a big title fight coming up here. Let's start first just with the fighting for FAC. I know it's been a few years. Tell me how this all came together with you getting this fight.
I was supposed to fight in July, and my opponent pulled out. He had a personal reason in there and why he pulled out, and then about 20 other people said no to fighting me on 10, 12 days, and so we just couldn't get a fight. And I think and FAC looked at me and was like, "I want to get you on the October card." And they looked at me for the title fight, and I super excited to get the opportunity to do so.
20 opponents. How surprising was that? It's, that's kind of like I've heard like, maybe three or four opponents, but were you ever worried that you wouldn't get to fight just because so many opponents went through?
Yeah, honestly, I actually cornered Trey Ogden the week before, and I was still dieting and everything in Vegas and all that, and it just so happened that we didn't end up getting a fight. We 2 days before weigh-ins is when we kind of called it. So Wednesday when we would have weighed in on Friday, and it just didn't happen that time. And that was just what it was. I still had a great camp. I still took a lot of good things from that camp. Got in great shape, got my weight down to a good spot, and then I just kind of kept it where it was.
Let's go all the way back to the beginning, man. As far as your career, how did you get involved in combat sports? Where did this journey start for you?
I could take this back like to when I was a kid, watching boxing in the '90s. With like Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., Bernard Hopkins, James Toney, guys like that. My dad would order the pay-per-views, and we would watch boxing pay-per-views like that. And as a kid, I was really, really into pro wrestling. So like WWE and WCW and stuff like that. And I wanted to wrestle because I saw Kurt Angle.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I saw him in WWE, and so I thought it was a natural progression of wanting to box and wanting to wrestle. And so I just kind of at 18 decided that was what I wanted to do.
Okay. And when did you know this was something that was more than a hobby, that it was something you wanted to pursue? Was it that first amateur fight? Was it the first practice? When did you know this was more than a hobby for you?
Oh, I before I did anything, honestly, I told my very, very first coach, he had a sheet as part of like the waiver of like what your goals are and why you're here and stuff like that. And I told my coach that I wanted to be UFC champion. That was before the very, very first practice.
Okay. So you knew early on, which is really cool. Along with fighting, what else do you do for a living? What's paying the bills for you right now?
I am a personal trainer,
Oh,
and I'm
nice.
an assistant coach at Marathon MMA as well. I do a lot of private lessons with a lot of our members and stuff like that, and kind of help them formulate their game and kind of pass on the knowledge that I've been given. There were two things at like 18 years old that I wanted to do. I wanted to be a professional fighter, and I wanted to be a personal trainer because I wanted to give people the feeling that I had after I worked out, because I just naturally felt so much better throughout my day if I worked out. So I wanted to give people that feeling. So those two things, 15 years later, here we are.
Something I've always wanted to know. I know Trey's at the gym all the time. He's busy. Like he's one of those people who likes being like super busy at all. Do you take on more responsibility when he has like fights coming up? Because I imagine you're also helping him out for his fights. You mentioned being in his corner.
Yeah. So when he's gone, I typically kind of pick up a lot of his stuff, and it does take an army. I don't do absolutely everything that he does, thank God, because I definitely don't want that. He has an insane schedule. I don't know how he continues to stay sane at all. That is my God's honest opinion. Um, but I definitely do help him out for his camps. I'll hold pads for him. We talk about game plans and stuff like that. Make sure I get him rounds and then pick up classes where I need to.
Let's talk about your opponent, Hernandez. 4-2 record. What do you know about him? How do you feel like you match up against him here?
I feel like I match up great with him. I feel like I have some stuff that he hasn't really went against. Honestly, I feel like most of the guys that have been able to take him down don't have the jiu-jitsu pedigree that I do. I also feel like my striking matches up really well stylistically with him. Um, I think the experience difference will definitely play a factor as well. I think the only thing that he really has over me, and I've looked at a lot of his stuff, is the fact that he's went 5 rounds and I haven't.
Okay. And is that, I mean, obviously that's something you're working on in camp as far as cardio and all that stuff. Is the prep a little bit different because it is those extra rounds?
It is a little bit. I do focus on, like, when I'm doing my strength conditioning, making sure that I'm getting extra reps into my sprints, into my air bike sprints, the miles when you're running or hitting the bike or whatever. But as far as rounds are concerned, I'm making sure that I'm doing 45 to 55 rounds every week in preparation to make sure that I am adequately ready for 5 rounds. And I've always felt like my style lends really, really well to 5 rounds. I'm a guy who, if you look at my fights, the second round is when I start to pick up. So like second, third, fourth, fifth round, I really feel like those are going to be my rounds, and I'm going to be able to drown anybody.
We talked a little bit about camp at Marathon MMA. I know Miles Johns, for example, has a fight coming up against Cody Garbrandt. I know that got moved. Trey's obviously in the gym all the time. Who are some of the guys you get to work with, or aside from those names I just mentioned?
Actually, one of my former opponents, Garrett Armfield, he's in the gym all the time. We get to grapple and spar a lot. Lucas DaCosta is one of my main training partners, and he has been for the past couple of years. I believe he's the co-main event, the feature fight for FAC 26. So he's getting ready. He's got a big fight, and he has dramatically improved over the last couple of years. He is a tank to deal with, and definitely somebody that the rest of the world should be looking out for.
Weight cut, I imagine that's all good. Got lots of notice for this fight, and you always make weight. So I'm assuming that's all going well?
I've missed weight one time, and it will never happen again.
Okay, fair enough. Glad we clarified that. But I think in general, you do typically make weight. So how's all that going ahead of the fight? We have some time, obviously, but.
Yeah, like I said, when I was supposed to fight in July, I got my weight down to a really, really good spot, and I just never let myself blow up after that. So I said I wanted to keep myself within a certain range, and I've been able to do that over the last couple months.
Were you part? I can't remember. Trey had that story where he had to go cut weight at that Airbnb, and the bathtub and the sauna was broken and all that. Were you there for that?
Yes, that was a morning. That was a hell of a morning.
Yeah, because you guys had to go to like I think it was like LA Fitness or something to like use the sauna, and people kept coming in and stuff. That was an absolute nightmare of a story. I couldn't only imagine how he was feeling.
Again, I don't know how Trey deals with certain things. If I was in his position during that weight cut, I think I would have blew a gasket, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I wasn't in his position, but I know I was stressed out just dealing with it. We went to an Airbnb. We were supposed to have a hot tub. The hot tub didn't work. We went to fill the tub in one of the bathrooms in it, and the tub wouldn't hold water. We were boiling water to bring to the tub for 45 minutes. It didn't work. We called an LA Fitness, and they're like, yeah, we have a hot tub and a sauna. The hot tub, when we get there, it doesn't work. The sauna works, and then, you're in a public gym, so everybody literally thinks that Trey is dying. So that was hard to deal with. We literally almost had an ambulance called for him, not because he needed it, but because one of the workers at LA Fitness thought that he needed it. Yeah. And he was like, not call the ambulance. I am fine. I did this intentionally.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a crazy story. I remember that was a few fights ago. Hopefully you don't have to deal with any of that for this fight. Well, I guess you wouldn't, because it's a home game, so to speak, for you. Your corner, I imagine Trey will be in there. Who else is going to be in the cage with you for this fight?
I'm going to have Alejandro Gomez. We call him Gomi, as my second corner. Again, one of my big training partners that I've had over the last few years, 4-0 professional. The kid can do anything that he wants as far as fighting is concerned.
And how do you see this fight playing out? How do you see it going down?
I think I'm the first person to finish him.
Nice. There you go. Didn't even hesitate. You see it early, later. How do you sort of see it unfolding?
I see it within the first 3 rounds.
Okay.
I think I can definitely catch him in both the standing and on the ground.
Obviously, anytime you win a title or compete for a title, it's always a big deal. Always looks good on the resume. Where does a win here put you, especially a finish like you're predicting here? What's the future look like? Not looking past obviously October 12th, but where do you see a win sort of putting you in the grand scheme of things?
I really think this win gets me back on track, gets me in a really, really good position. I think I win this title. I want to either defend this title once or go win another regional title. And I think those couple wins will get me to a good point where a big company will want to sign me.
Yeah, a lot of implications there for this fight. What else do you like doing outside of fighting? We talked all about, obviously, your job and training camp and all that stuff. Do you got any other interests? I don't know if you like any other sports. You watch any Netflix? You play any video games? What other stuff you got going on outside of fighting?
Really, I love hanging out with my family. I have a wife. We actually just celebrated our 7th anniversary.
Nice.
So happy, Stephanie. This is the 5th time in those 7 anniversaries that we've had that I've been in fight camp. So we get to celebrate it after the fight,
yeah.
per usual. And other than that, I have 2 dogs that I love. I love to walk and play with my dogs and stuff like that. Really, I live in the gym other than that. And I will mention, because I love it, and my mom actually predicted that I would do something like this when I was younger. I love teaching kids, and I am our head kids instructor at Marathon. Awesome. And I just want to shoot the story out there. And my mom told me when I was 18 years old, when I decided I wanted to be a personal trainer and I wanted to be a professional fighter, that I would do something great with kids. My mom said that to me. She actually wrote me a note that said I would do that. And for over the past decade, I've been able to work with kids and influence kids and be an impact in their lives, and hopefully a great role model as well.
That's awesome, man. I can slightly relate. I coach hockey. My son's he just turned 7 and he's in like a hockey league and stuff. And we had a lot of like new kids on his team this year, so we're having to teach him strategy and like how to play. And I'm from Canada, obviously, so of course I'm a hockey coach. But yeah, like it's so rewarding to see kids like progress and see them get better and know that like you played a part in that, right? And I'm sure that's a big motivating factor as well. If you have knowledge, give it, and to see that knowledge being used in a positive way is a very cool thing, right?
Yes, I have multiple. I still call them kids, even though they're now adults. Yeah. I've had multiple kids, if you will, from the time they were 10 years old to now. I can think of multiple kids that are now 18, 19 years old, that still call me coach, that still look to me for advice and stuff like that. And that is honestly a real honor that. Even now as adults, they're looking at me as somebody to guide them or help them on their own journey, if you will.
Love it. Steven, thanks so much for doing this. We're looking forward to the fight. It is FAC 26 coming up here October 12th, going to be live on Spectation Sports. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media you want to mention, any information on Marathon MMA, I'll give you the last word.
I just want to thank Marathon MMA and everybody there. I appreciate it. We have the best gym community I've ever been a part of. I want to obviously thank my wife, my mom, my dad, my sister, my nieces. Like, I love you all. If you want to follow me, go to Instagram or Facebook. Just type in Golden MMA 135, and you can follow me on all that. I get updates with everything.